Welcome to Kaks Bar and Podcast, Canada's first podcast bar. What that means is you can come here for food, you can come here for drinks, you can also come here and record a podcast. Come on down, we're located in downtown Calgary, Alberta in the Beltline area. See you soon. We are recording. Everyone brought around shots for us if we all want to take this here.
Everyone has on.
Okay, cool. This is proper 12 Irish whiskey, Conor McGregor's whiskey.
Ooh.
Okay, guys. All right, cheers.
Recording?
All right, it's recording.
I was like, this was like a Burt Reynolds.
Oh, dang. HR just left, so yeah. Salute.
Oh, man, I'm sipping.
That's good, though. That's good. Okay, there we go.
Drive, so,
Okay.
Cool.
Now, okay. There we go.
All right, this is part two of the podcast here. And
1 week later.
Yeah.
Closed.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while, guys.
We don't close to keep the theme going.
Yeah.
Continuity is great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm just joining the fellas now. We just kind of, we can just talk about whatever, really, honestly, and obviously we can always direct it back towards the Canadian fiber optics. We have to, but Johann, honestly, I do got to ask, we were talking about this off the camera before we start recording, but why haven't you seen Star Wars? What's the reason? Do you have just trying to get to know you a bit more here?
Okay, so
he hasn't seen Star Wars.
So for the thousands of people that are going to be tuning into this, right? Okay, I haven't seen the Star Wars. Now,
not one.
I've attempted twice.
Okay,
once
which
was
one?
okay. So let me think. I lived in Winnipeg at the time, and when the new ones were coming out, Anakin Skywalker was a young chap flying racing, whichever one that one is.
Pod racing.
And my wife here, who is she's here. She's just refusing to be in camera. She'll know this about me, and maybe a lot of fathers will know this and understand this too. But this was I was a teenager. It was the first Star Wars movie I saw, but I fell asleep. Right? And now Natalie has rewatched them with some of our kids. I have attempted falling asleep through everyone. So I've never.
You're saying 15-year-old you couldn't pay attention to Natalie Portman on screen? Come on.
No, but so here the nostalgia of it. I can watch because so I grew up in the 80s and 90s. And when I say I haven't seen the Star Wars, but I've seen the Jurassic Parks because that's my jam. Yeah. Now I can look back and watch the original Jurassic Park and love it.
Yeah.
When my children now watch, they're like, "Well, that T-Rex is fake," right? It's kind of. And so when I watch the original Star Wars, I'm like, who thinks this is good? Sorry, I maybe shouldn't say this.
No, I'm just a super nerd that I love that stuff, but it's really interesting. But it's just you couldn't get behind the special effects or what with the plot.
And here's a follow-up question.
Yeah.
Do you watch any movies?
Yeah,
because
you watch Jurassic Park, I guess.
Because if you fell asleep watching, admittedly, maybe probably the worst part of the first six, right?
Yeah.
I'll give you that if you're going to fall asleep in any of the first six, maybe that's the one to fall asleep in, but it's still the greatest story, besides Lord of the Rings, ever told on screen. So do you like anything if you don't like that?
Okay, well, so you got to name this for viewership and promotion. This podcaster hates Star Wars. That'll get some.
Quite literally.
That's the clickbait type.
From a podcast bar that has a weekly podcast, Star Wars trivia. Yeah, but it's. I don't it's me just falling asleep at movies, which is just the nature of I'm okay. Yeah, let's have family movie night, which for me is sweet. I'm going to tuck myself in behind, and I'm going to close my eyes.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is, and maybe other fathers can relate to this, I'm not sure, Andrew, but for some reason, children and wives hate husbands falling asleep on the couch. Well, there is something about this.
I can see why wives hate that.
No, but
I can vouch for Andrew. Andrew, in his house, is not the one to fall asleep.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
His wife is the one that falls asleep almost all the time.
Okay.
And will wake up 20 minutes before the end of the movie and go, like, who's that guy? And you're like, that's the main character. Where have you been?
Oh,
This is a 3-hour movie.
We do Lord of the Rings almost every year. And it's been 10 years, and she still is like, I've never
20
seen this.
years.
I have never seen this movie.
Yeah, she's like, I've
It's
never
the first
seen this
time.
moment.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've ever seen that little gangly creature. Who is this little Mom, that's Gollum or Smeagol, but like you've seen this
You were
movie.
sleeping. You were sleeping. Yeah, that's right.
There's something about this is like I fall asleep and my kids get mad at me.
They get mad at you.
Yeah, it's like,
they
Dad's falling
they want
asleep
you
again.
to enjoy it. That's why they're like,
well, they want to
"Oh,
talk
Daddy's
to you
not
about
enjoying
it, right?
Yeah.
They want you to be able to talk about the
even,
movie
like,
with them.
My wife and I, who again is right here, but she's like, okay, let's go on a date night. Right? I'm like, yes, and she's a movie. I'm like, yes. She goes, but you're not going to fall asleep, right? I'm like, why does it matter if I fall asleep?
Well, because you
or
want to
not?
enjoy it together.
We're still
you
holding
enjoy it
hands,
together.
right? You know? We're still holding
but it's like
hands.
holding a dead fish. It's just limp.
That's for
We're
still
and
still-
like
holding hands.
oddly sweaty.
right? Like,
Yeah.
what?
Johann, I will say I can kind of relate because ever since I started this business, I've just been so busy, right?
Yeah.
So whenever if something's and I'm severely underslept for sure.
Yeah.
Like I'm usually
Who
8 hour
isn't these days?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm an 8 hour guy, but I'm basically getting 5 continuously,
Yeah.
and it's broken up patterns of 5 hours of sleep. But whenever, like, say me and my girl are hanging out, and like, yeah, she wants to watch a movie, unless my brain is being used, I actually am ready to fall asleep anytime.
For sure.
So that's the
Yeah,
problem.
for
So
sure.
the other day we went and we did dinner movie. We did sushi and then watched Hunger Games, the latest one. By the way, pretty
There's
crazy.
a new one?
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
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 it's a
Okay.
prequel.
Yeah, you've got 3 daughters, man. You don't know?
Yeah,
I know now.
Why
I
is
know
the Hunger
now.
Games like
Okay, sorry,
for
okay.
girls though?
And
But
you fell
anyway,
asleep.
well,
Wait.
no, I didn't because
Oh.
that movie was so
It's good.
like my brain was constantly engaged with the plot and the premise and everything. But
Same person in it?
no, it's a prequel this time. So
That's-
Jennifer Lawrence is not in it.
Aberdeen
but
is not
That's
there.
what they do when actors quit, right? They
Yeah.
do a prequel.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
That's right.
Yeah.
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 But I'm with you. Like if I'm not using my brain, like if I'm not engaged in whatever I'm doing, like I could be dirt tired, but we have a conversation and it's engaging my brain, then I'll be alive for it. But the instant I sit down and I'll fall asleep because I'm just go
Well,
all
and
the
I mean,
time. That's basically why I can't. It's not that movie's bad. I'm just tired.
And
I'm
that's not
chronically
only a
tired.
skill
Makes
that
sense.
entrepreneurs have. It's young parents,
Say that again.
entrepreneurs.
Okay.
Yeah.
You, you
For the
said
court
it like
records,
a,
I know how to
like
say
a
the
cowboy.
word.
Like
Entrepreneur.
like a troubadour.
Yeah, troubadour. So entrepreneurs and young parents and
Yeah.
guys in the army develop that skill of I'm so tired all the time. I've got just enough caffeine, ginseng, taurine, whatever's in a Monster. You know the can by heart. Whatever's in there, it's keeping me going until I stop moving. And then you're like a shark in the water, and you're just
Well, the army did train me for that. Like
Yeah.
it's like
Give us a little of your bio. You were in the army, like Canadian army.
17 years.
Okay,
But
sweet.
there's like I'm not sure if it's an army adage or saying, but it's like why run when you can walk?
Yeah.
Why walk when you can stand? Why stand when you can sit? Why sit when you can lay down? And why lay down when you can sleep? The whole message is like
And
rest
why
when you
sleep
can.
when you can die?
yeah.
Right?
I mean,
Yeah.
is that the last step?
Well, yeah, maybe, but the whole point is like get rest when you can,
Totally.
right? And like so when the family's like movie night, I'm like,
Yeah.
I actually still have an opinion on the
Yeah.
show. I'm like, and
Papa Jay's
and-
catching up on 2 hours of extra
yeah,
sleep.
And Natalie's like, what the hell do you care what we watch? You're just gonna fall asleep. Your opinion doesn't matter, right? Well, okay.
Okay, but what about shows like have you seen Breaking Bad?
I have, yeah.
Okay, did that
Yeah.
one keep you going?
I actually so I watched it and the only reason I watched so I was sick earlier in the year, bedridden for longer than I needed to be, which allowed me to be like in the classic term of binge.
Yeah.
I found that show oddly like it is stimulating,
Yeah.
not entertaining.
Mm.
Right?
Interesting distinction.
Like really
Yeah.
like I'm like I don't enjoy this,
Yeah.
but I want to know what happens next.
Yeah.
Right. No, but like because like there's
Yeah.
there's a lot of emotions in that drug use, addictions,
Yeah.
and you like but I'm like it's interesting, but like but the buzz that I heard about all that was like, this is going to be like one of these things that I'm going to regret that I didn't watch 10 years ago.
Totally.
I was like, oh shit, that's it.
Yeah.
That's how, and
Oh,
so
wow, you're so different from me.
but then
I thought that thing was a masterpiece.
okay. So here's a question, because so my wife is like pop culture, like whatever, instant Google, like what happened, and I'm like, I just don't care. So I started watching Saul. What
Better Call Saul.
Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
Better Call Saul, and I haven't been bothered to Google this, but is that a
It's both. I know what you're going to ask,
yeah.
but it's both.
Did it happen at the same time? Like,
yes
were they
and no,
released at the
because
same time?
depending.
Yeah,
No,
what
so
do you mean yes
it was
and
it was
no?
released after, right?
Yeah.
So it
Okay,
came
so it was released
years
afterwards.
after, but the storyline both takes place before the
Oh, okay.
storyline of Breaking Bad,
Okay.
then also cuts to kind of during, but
Okay.
after
I stopped
how it
wa-
happens, right?
I stopped
Yeah.
watching it because like it's all like the same type of directing, and I was like, fuck this is, and you know,
Some of the guys
you know,
making X-Files.
This is a family show, Johann.
Genius.
but now I'm not bedridden.
Yeah.
I don't have the time.
True,
I'm
true.
like, okay, I have 10 minutes before I fall asleep
Yeah.
with my wife at bedtime.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch. What are we watching? Only Murders in the
I've
It's
heard
fun.
good things.
It's
I've heard
good,
very
yeah.
good
It's a
things.
good one.
It's
Yeah.
interesting,
It's
yeah.
brilliant. Like
It's fun.
it's
Yeah.
so good, and
Yeah.
Steve
Steve
McQuell.
Martin's
Yeah, so like
Yeah.
Steve Martin short.
the spectrum of
Same.
Steve Martin to Selena Gomez. It's like, whoa, this is
Yeah.
I guess like, but when you watch certain shows, aren't you like, for me anyway? I'm putting myself into like the character, right? Like, imagine being in that scenario.
So you're suspending disbelief, right? You're getting
that mean?
into it. And so suspending disbelief is like when you get into something. When I watch Lord of the Rings, and I've watched Lord of the Rings more than 99.99% of people on the planet, I will stand by.
We're gonna
that.
do a
Wait,
Lord
you
of
say you've
Lord of the
watched
Rings
it
trivia
99
night, by the way.
times.
I
Come on
have
down to it.
successfully. I have successfully marathoned. I don't count individual movies that I've watched. I don't count when I fall asleep in a marathon or have to stop halfway through. I've successfully marathoned the extended editions 59 times.
Okay, I got
5'9".
got to tell you my Lord of the Rings
Yeah,
experience in
actually.
life. Have you seen Lord of the Rings?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
My man.
this is again. You guys are not going to like this. So book recommendation. Someone was like, "You got to read them."
Totally.
And so one of my tours in Afghanistan, I pre-bought the book because it's a bit before ebooks.
Yeah.
Bought the book, and like you have valuable rucksack space. Like you
Oh, yeah.
pack a couple personal items, right? I put the Hobbit in, right?
Great choice. Start out easy, right? It's made for kids. It's digestible.
I disagree.
You should have brought a
I'm
Kindle.
like,
Did you know the first people that test read the Lord of the Rings were the SAS operatives in Northern Africa in World War II. Those guys
whatever.
gave up their rucksack
I was
space.
like, I'm not reading this. Now my second experience is a good friend of mine, right,
Yeah.
who's also a neighbor,
Yeah.
massive like you,
Yeah.
maybe even more, because he plays Lord of the Rings Risk.
As a boy, as he
Okay.
should.
And so he invited, I didn't know this was, do you play the Lord of the Rings Risk?
No, but we do a board game here. Board game day Sundays here at Kaks,
Okay,
by the way.
so-
Bring down your wrist boards and play.
so he
Shameless
has
plug.
this thing where okay, so Risk, four player game, they're like fourth, dropped out, and I'm a neighbor, and he knows I'm loosely available after the kids are sleeping. And he goes, Johann, would you be the fourth? I was like, right, sure, right, and he was like, okay, but like you have to. He was sort of like, it's Risk, but it's Lord of the Rings Risk. I'm like, it's, and he goes, we have a few criteria, right? And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
give me the lowdown when I get there. So get the jacket on, go. And it was like a whole thing, right? Like he had a script, of quotes. Like, so when you're winning, when you're losing.
What can men do against such reckless hate?
So like day to day, like he's my friend and a neighbor. And I grew up with him. It's just a coincidence that he's a neighbor. Our kids are the same age. I had no idea that there was this side of him, the Lord of the Rings side, where he was upset with me. He goes, from the script, right? You know?
From the script. Come
From the
on now.
script. And so I'd say
That's
from the
actually
script,
his real side.
Yeah,
Actually,
and
everything
he's
else is
like,
the facade.
in an accent, right? You know, he
Yes.
goes, "Like, do you mean it?" I was like, "I'm not doing that."
Yeah.
Right? You know?
I want to play Risk with these homies.
So this was, babes, like 2 years ago. He's yet to invite me back. And
Honestly,
he's yet to
I
invite
understand
me
why.
back.
I understand.
And
It's a
so
religion
it
to
was-
some
it-
people,
It
man.
was like a few weeks ago. He goes, "Our fourth may have dropped out again."
Uh-oh.
He goes, "Do you want in?" I'm like, "Does the same criteria exist? If so, I don't want in." Right? You know, like I enjoyed it.
Man.
The gameplay was fun.
Yeah.
Don't want to come in costume. Don't want to talk in an accent. Don't want to read off of a printed list.
You
of
give me
scripts.
a date and time, I will show up in costume, ready and willing.
I'll say his name, Dan Oliver. Right? You
Yeah,
can look him up.
yeah.
He's very Googleable
Okay.
because he's a world class wrestler and a wrestling coach.
Yeah. Yeah.
I shouldn't say this, but the public realm.
Yeah.
He is a Lord of the Rings fanatic.
That's good people in my book.
I think all good people are there bad people who follow Lord of the Rings? Like
Yes.
if you watch
Yes.
Lord of the Rings,
There are people
10
with
times a year-
terrible opinions. They're like, "Oh,
Well, no,
why
no,
can
no,
they
you
just
You just
fly
said the
the
SS.
eagles?"
You said the SS now Nazi guys.
No,
Like,
no, but if you watch Lord of the Rings 10 times a year, are you
Yeah.
a bad person? Like, are there, like, statistically speaking, you're likely to be a nice person, right?
Yeah, I think if I will make this case genuinely,
I would say you're staying out of trouble. I mean,
Yeah.
for sure.
So I was going to say,
like, why would you
I was gonna say
consider it bad? Yeah,
so
like,
twofold. You're far less likely to get caught up with because you're so busy watching Lord of the Rings and doing that. You're far less likely to get involved with the kind of people that
The devil rides
do
on an idle
like
horse, you know?
unsavory things. But also, if you're paying attention,
Unsavory
if you're
things.
really paying attention, if you're suspending disbelief and you're just getting into that story, and you're not looking at it going
but
like,
I-
I know this wizard is
Yeah,
fake.
but I don't know
But
the story.
if you're really getting into it, you're seeing the true nature of it. Isn't, oh wow, that was a cool battle, and like that orc got chopped in half by a wizard. It's like you're seeing this story about like the like desperate hope in spite of like insurmountable odds.
He's gonna get thousands of nerd
fellowship.
views now. Like,
Yeah, no, seriously. And
people
I
are
would go
out
on
there.
about
Yeah,
this
we
for
do have nerd
hours.
segments. I'll
But
have
it's
segments.
it's
stuff,
all
yeah.
about
Yeah.
brotherhood
Star Wars,
and
yeah.
fellowship in spite of. And in spite of the
In spite of
adversity
what?
that comes from within, and in spite of the adversity that comes from or, like outside of you, right? It's because if you look at the story and you,
Well, I get it. I get inspired
yeah,
to apply that to my real life.
yeah, exactly.
Because like just like you guys starting your business, like you guys have some insurmountable odds. You guys have things you got to overcome.
Yeah.
And then when I watch any movie, there's three angles I watch it from. It's from by the way, sorry to interrupt, but it's like
please,
yeah, it's like I watch from one special effects. I watch it from plot, watch it from entertainment, watch it for the sometimes who's the actor, but
did it look good?
Did it look
sound
good?
Yeah.
But part of why I also get the escapism, it's like, okay, I'm having a tough day, but let's see what these fictional characters are going through, and potentially that's real. And in real life, these things like kind of happen at some point. Like think about World War II. You know what I mean? Like think about being Winston Churchill in the middle of that, like trying to like make decisions, like trying to stay calm. Like and like I put myself in that, and that's how I get through my stresses of my life.
Yeah.
Like
and you can see how the story was written from the mindset of a man who literally lived through the trenches of World War I as a lieutenant, not a lieutenant. I know my British military history. So as a lieutenant and an educated man, right, a scholar before he ever made it into the trenches and lived through gas attacks and artillery bombings and the horrors of like total war and an industrial war, right? Something nobody had ever seen before. You see that influence in the horrors and the wretchedness of Mordor and the people that run all of that. It's that heavy in industry that their bread and butter, their product is death, is domination, is destruction.
And there's so many parallels too with Lord of the Rings in life, because like as an example, like I'm not gonna lie, like my family's probably gonna watch this, but like my family were the hobbits, right?
Yeah.
Like they're literally the hobbits. Like
totally.
Mom and dad just like to be in the Shire. They don't want to expand. They like the routine. They like third and fourth breakfast, fifth and sixth dinner, or whatever.
Who
Like,
doesn't?
it's
My
like,
people.
you know, because the whole thing is, hey, don't take risks. Like get a corporate job, go into the machine, get that steady paycheck, save, and like just chill, you know. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna go open the first podcast bar in Canada. You know, and they're kind of like, what is that? What does that even mean? I'm like, well, it means I gotta go take out a big loan. So they're like, whoa,
Right.
you know, like that's me like venturing out of the Shire, right? That's the way I
Everyone
see that.
in Hobbiton thought Bilbo was insane for running off with Thorin and company to go fight a dragon.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
you read The Hobbit, you would know.
Can we have Jurassic Park references?
Yeah.
Like, it's like,
we can
do
do
that,
that.
you know?
We can downshift on truck on the highway here. We can slow right down. But I mean it. Like I believe in this stuff. Like,
Okay, wait.
Lord of the Rings.
Of all the Lord of the Rings criticism I've gotten, most of what you said to me is nonsense, except for like the last 3 minutes.
That's fine. Yeah,
not me, man. I got everything you said.
Yeah,
no, but there's
the true beauty in it is that anybody
there's more?
can jump in. No, anybody can jump in and they can find someone. There's even more so in the book because there's 6 times the characters. Some people hate that. Whatever. You're wrong. But you can jump in and you can find someone who's in a situation that you can relate to, right? You can find a father grieving for the loss of his son, right? A son grieving for the loss of a relationship with his father. You can find, someone
Some people are simple that don't want risks, that are forced into it and have to seek inner bravery,
forced into these grandiose situations in situations like I'm not comfortable with this. It's 11 hours and 28 minutes.
He's going to sleep for 11 hours and 28.
He's our best sleep of my life.
Yeah, I'm going to wake up. She's going to still be watching it. You know?
Yeah, but like there's some
really cool story to wake up.
Yeah, true. It's like, what? Tell me what I missed.
Maybe not the last scene where fucking Frodo and
I don't want to
Sam are jumping out of the bed.
What do you mean last scene? That's
I don't want to spoil it for you,
Yeah.
but the king returns in the third movie. I don't want to spoil it, but he returns.
Yeah.
Is that
Was that the title?
Daniel?
Yeah,
No,
it was
Viggo
the title.
Mortensen's
It's a joke.
character.
Okay, no, I asked too much. I don't know.
So the point is, there's something in it for everyone. I am not an elitist. I don't get mad when people are like, I haven't watched. I'll play fun, whatever. I don't get mad when people are like, I didn't enjoy it.
Wait,
I'm sad when people are like, I haven't watched it, because I'm like, wow, this is something that means so much to me, and it's so good. I would love to experience this with you.
Let me back up.
But if you don't like it, that's fine.
Let me back up. If I tell someone I haven't seen Lord of the Rings, or if I tell them I might not like it, and they get mad at me,
no one's mad.
I do not consider them an elitist. Right? Like that is. I don't know what that is.
I don't think you're less than because you don't like fantasy or you don't like high fantasy, or I don't think you're less than because you're like, nah, I'm a sci-fi guy. I don't care about magic and spell. You're a dinosaur guy.
Dinosaur
That's
guy.
awesome. That's awesome. That's your
I'm
thing.
a prairie Saskatchewan boy. Drumheller was my jam.
Oh, heaven yes.
So Johann,
yes.
which character would you have loved to be on the original Jurassic
Terry
Park?
and Malcolm, because his shirt was unbuttoned.
Yeah, that's right. All that. Do you want to do the pose like him as the fly? That whole thing?
Okay, so who's
with
the
a
guy?
broke ass leg, but sexy as hell.
The paranoid guy. He was also in the Will Smith UFO movie. What's his name? Newman.
No, Newman was that guy. You're thinking Samuel L. Jackson. I don't remember his character.
Hold on to your butts
Leslie?
guy. Hold on to your butts guy. Like, remember? He's like, hold on to your butts.
So
the lawyer that gets eaten on the toilet. He's
no,
paranoid.
No.
God, I don't ever rewatch that.
Oh shit.
Clever girl.
No.
that guy, Mr. Quads. Fuck, that guy, the biggest legs ever.
Yeah, the Strayan bloke. Oh man, that guy. Best
I just remember
legs
being
in
like,
cinema.
holy shit,
Period.
Okay, it's Jeff Goldblum.
Well, Jeff Goldblum. That's what we were talking about.
The chaos theory mathematician.
Yeah. Like that. Love that guy. And then obviously the main guy, right? Who's been now returned kind of back in. that guy, like
that's Dr.
the paleontologist,
Yeah.
right?
I think his character name Alan. Or,
there we go. There we go.
Yes, Alan
Grant.
Yeah.
Alan Grant.
Alan Grant. Yeah,
Dr.
Dr.
Grant.
Grant.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
He's
You're
great.
right. You're right.
He's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dr. Grant.
I didn't resonate with
Yeah,
Laura.
but
So-
but the rock star,
Natalie
yeah,
did.
but the
So,
rock
yeah.
star mathematician who believed in chaos theory.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
your
that guy,
jam.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's my jam. And like that.
Yeah. So
That-
what drew you to him outside of the physical attraction?
Can someone sum up chaos theory again? What's chaos theory? Again?
Chaos theory is like how does he describe it in the movie? It's like Murphy's law. Anything that can happen will happen, right?
Yeah.
Like he says the line like nature finds a way, right?
Yeah.
He's like you were too preoccupied with
like,
whether or not you could.
I love that we're talking about
finds
yeah,
a way.
sorry,
That's
like
good.
life finds a way.
Yeah.
Like
Keep
you're
it
too
going.
preoccupied whether or not you could. You didn't stop to think whether or not you should, right? So he's saying you're
Yeah.
tempting like fate and playing with these forces you don't understand, and
He
bad shit
played
happens.
the same type of role in Independence Day,
yes,
right? Like,
yes,
yeah.
Yeah.
He was like
That was a great movie.
Yeah.
By the way.
That was great.
Classic,
Yeah, love
classic.
Super good. Super good.
So,
Yeah.
but like, yeah, no.
it.
so,
Randy Quaid was good in that.
oh yeah,
Mhm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Crop
We
dusted
should
the
watch
wrong
that
crop.
tonight,
Remember that one?
yeah,
Yeehaw!
yeah.
Wait, Randy Quaid was a crazy guy, right?
He was a crazy
yeah,
one.
yeah, he's like,
The
he's
one
like,
sacrifice.
When
like,
I
honey,
left the
yeah,
middle,
yeah,
yeah.
he's like,
He
honey,
actually
I'm
said-
home.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
What was it? An F-16? I think he learned.
No, I think that was an F-18.
F-18.
I think it was an F-18 at the time.
Fly
'cause
this
when it
thing.
came out, that was like top shit. That was cool.
Back-
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I just remember because I love Top Gun, and I watched that after, and I was comparing
Same
the planes.
thing.
So you're on a roll there,
Same,
and
yeah.
then we segued you off that. But okay, but before you,
Yeah.
like, Johann, okay, you're big into dinosaurs. Like,
Yeah.
with all that we know
Still.
now, like they basically got it wrong from what we understand.
Yeah.
Like the dinosaurs are all feathered from what we understand.
Yeah.
Right? Is that something that's been proven now or something?
I
Like,
haven't kept up.
Yeah.
With my,
Okay.
My
Oh,
dinosaur.
okay. Oh, okay.
In Latin, hang on, this is important.
I'm still in my drum heller days.
Yeah,
and
so
things,
in
you know,
Latin,
so-
top three dinos.
Documentary was Dominion.
Yeah.
that was a great movie.
Name your top three dinos in Latin and the period they're from. Fake fan. Fake fan confirmed. Fake fan.
Taking all the stars.
Yeah, name all the stars. Yeah, fake fan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Man.
no, but anyway, I don't know. Like, just going back to movies, Johann, it
Yep.
seems like you're more of a like extreme realist. Like you can't get past like science fiction.
Are
like,
you an extreme realist?
Well, like we don't know if dinosaurs were real, do we? Or...
Wait.
Oh,
what?
wait,
What
wait, what are you
was that then? What was
Like,
that
you're
then?
assuming?
No, but,
Yeah.
but that's
What
a fair
was that
question.
then?
Like, would you rather watch a movie like Have
Like
you
the
seen
okay,
The Martian?
okay, well,
Has he fallen asleep through The Martian?
Oh, probably.
Probably.
Okay, no, okay, so okay, well,
Right?
the Martian is very fake. We know that, right?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like,
and you're
he
wondering
goes-
why
he
are
gets
we going
stranded
to
on
Mars when we never landed on the moon?
Don't do this. Don't do this.
Oh,
start.
Okay, no, okay, this is a good question about pop culture, even comedy or real. But so growing up in the 80s and 90s, Canadian comedy killed. Mike Myers,
Yeah.
Jim
Sure,
Carrey,
yeah.
right? Where like this was like. Like the absurdity was crazy. Like nothing about any of this was real. Even Adam Sandler,
Carrey.
like this was not real life scenarios, but this was what people resonated with for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Now comedy, Steve Carell brought in like realism, like real office place
True.
antics, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
these are potential realistic scenarios
Yeah.
where Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. This is not
Maybe
a
one of the
real
best
thing in
movies ever
life.
made.
Yeah,
Right?
maybe. Yeah.
But-
You can't get a piece of broccoli stuck in your teeth. Not possible.
Oh God.
You'd be okay, a table guy, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
All I wanted was a friend.
But go on. Let's find
the
out. You're an extreme
realism
realist?
of all this,
Yeah.
eventually, in comedy, like things progressed, and now even comedy today, Paul Rudd, like all of this
Yeah,
is like
Right.
it's kind of real,
Yeah.
right? And it's funny because it's real life
Yeah.
scenarios, right?
Well, and more than that,
Paul
it's
Rudd. Sorry,
it's-
like what do you
well,
mean?
you know, so
Well,
that,
he's
that
like
is a good
Ant-Man,
that is
like
a
he-
good
like,
example,
but what
right?
he-
It's like
yeah.
it's real comedy, but there's also a hint of darkness to it because
Yeah.
it's so real, and that's what people
Okay,
kind
well,
of laugh
the-
at,
Which of
right?
Paul Rudd's work are we
Well,
talking
the-
about here? Are we talking about Paul Rudd, Ant-Man?
Yeah. So
Okay. He's a-
did you see
he's
that
a-
one where he's like
He's a comedian?
cloned?
No, I know he's-
So
wait.
there's that series. I can't remember the
Okay,
name of
the-
it.
the-
There's the series where he clones himself, so the clone can do all the boring stuff, and he
No,
can
no,
have fun
that
in
was
life.
Michael Keaton, and that movie is called Multiplicity.
No, but there was a series that came out like 2 years ago with Paul Rudd in it, where that's the premise.
Oh my god,
right?
they
And
literally
it's a
copied
comedy,
Multiplicity
but it's,
with Michael
but it's a
Keaton.
dark comedy,
Okay,
right?
well,
that.
Yeah.
I actually never heard of that.
Okay,
I love Paul Rudd.
The Paul Rudd scene that I think of is in that. It to me, it's a ridiculous comedy, but Minotaur. What's Role Models? Where is the scene where he's ordering coffee?
Classic.
Right, there's that rant scene where
Yeah.
he's like, I don't want a venti, or like whatever it is, and like that type of comedy is funny because it's real, because we can resonate with trying to order coffee at a Starbucks.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Right.
So you're a total realist. Like you
No,
don't like.
versus like say like Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, 20 years prior.
Yeah.
Very different type of comedy.
But did you like Ace Ventura?
Oh, I loved it. I still love
okay,
it.
okay.
Yeah. But like I
Okay, so-
like in those days, I was like, or Mike Myers and
Austin Powers.
or like I still like his.
Yeah.
I think his worst movie he ever made is one of my favorites. Is The Love Guru.
Oh, yeah.
Like you
That's
can't.
it's so bad. It's so bad. It's good.
Like when
Actually, so bad,
Adam
it's good.
Sandler's Enter the Johann.
Like
so
when-
bad. It's
Yeah.
good.
when Mike Myers sings like Dolly Parton's 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I'm
Yeah.
like if you can't realize the comedy genius of like a white person from Canada playing like an Indian love guru singing Dolly Parton's like 9 to 5, which is about women's
So
rights,
good.
but a man's like this
Yeah.
is like in my world, it's utterly ridiculous. So ridiculous and like it doesn't border like possibility in real life that it's like now funny.
Yeah.
Okay, that's funny.
Okay,
Paul
so
Rudd,
it
I
has to be
also think is
so
funny.
outlandish
Yeah.
that it's funny. But if it's in the realm of
Yeah.
like low probability of
Yeah.
possibility, then
It's
you're
not,
not interested.
It's not even low probability. This will never happen in real life. Ever.
Okay, so you are a realist,
so-
realist.
so
Like it has
you
to
like-
be real-ish.
Yeah. So
like,
you like Dumb and Dumber? What about
Oh,
Dumb and
yeah.
Dumber
Yeah.
is
Love it.
so it is
Okay.
outlandish, but what about it is unbelievable? There are
Here's-
people dumb enough in the world that they would like do some of that stuff, right?
Actually, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
So Dumb and
Some
Dumber.
of them are in this room.
I love it. So this,
Samsonite.
this last when did we watch Dumb and Dumber? I fell asleep, but it was this summer
Take these extra
at the
clubs.
lake.
You fell asleep at Dumb and Dumber?
Well, I'm on a couch. Okay, so
Yeah.
our oldest daughter, who's 15,
Yeah.
who doesn't know Jim Carrey like we do.
No.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, what's the best Jim Carrey that you might like, right? I'm thinking Dumb
Yeah.
and Dumber, and plus it is good, or our perception.
Yeah.
She watches it, and she's 15, and she's like, that was the most awkward, dumbest movie. Like,
Yeah.
like it,
Exactly,
like, no,
exactly.
but there was a sense that that was generational humor. Like,
Totally.
she's
Yeah.
15.
Hey, it's totally
she-
true. I mean,
yeah, like she
it's
doesn't
totally
get it. Like that's but like Steve Martin, I think is the only comedian that has transcended every generation.
Yeah.
Like have you guys seen Walk Like an Egyptian? No. Have you seen this skit? No.
Mhm.
Okay, so okay,
No, I'm still thinking about that
Okay,
comment you just made that he's actually a timeless comedian.
No, but like
there's gotta be other ones, like-
so he has this like if you
Eddie
Google
Murphy?
walk like Steve Martin Walk Like an Egyptian, right? And it's from like the 70s, I think, maybe 80s.
Yeah.
And he's like it's like a baseball stadium sold out, like that big. Steve Martin, huge.
Yeah.
And he looks the exact same. He's
Yeah.
looked 70 years old forever, right?
Oh,
White hair,
totally.
you know. And he's doing this outlandish, like it is so dumb. Walk like an Egyptian, and
Yeah.
there's like 60,000 people just being like
That's the funniest
it's
thing I've
like-
ever seen.
And so like he's just acting like an
Yeah.
Egyptian, and
Yeah.
like people are, and then, like I'm laughing. It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
And the whole thing, like someone hands him a guitar as if he's gonna like play it, like and they're like, because he's a good musician. And then he just does 2 strums, and then he hands a guitar, and it just erupts, right? But I watch that now, and I'm like, that's actually comedy gold.
Yeah.
And that was done in the 70s.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because Dumb and Dumber was comedy gold in the 90s. Like this was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now only 20 years later, my 15-year-old daughter's like, that's You know, like
What's not funny about Pretty Bird?
Well, and we're actually we're closer to 30 years later.
Or two
Let the
grown
record
men
reflect.
riding on a scooter,
Riding on a
peeing
cycle,
on
that's
one,
right.
Yeah,
frozen.
yeah,
I'm like,
stuck to the
that's
other, yeah.
that's really funny. She's
Yeah.
like, that's dumb.
Yeah.
You know?
But, like no, the generational,
Yeah.
but the generational comedy point is a good one, right? Like think about Monty Python. And they've been in the game.
Steve
They've been in the
Martin's not the
game.
only guy. You're right.
Yeah, but I'm saying
so
they've
you
been
love
in the
Monty
game
Python.
for
Oh, yeah.
so long that there are multiple
bunch of men
generations
acting
that
like
see
women.
that know that like that. But then
Yeah.
they kind of fade a bit, and then there's a generation like Gen Z, like younger than us,
She's a witch.
that are like, who the heck are these like dumbass old
Yeah.
white guys? You're like, listen, sweetie, they've been making fun of dumbass old white guys
Yeah.
since the 60s. You show some respect.
Well, they also invented the Segway, right?
Yeah.
Like the random
Yeah.
Segway, like that's what Family
Yeah.
Guys like known for,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Oh,
love that
so-
stuff, right?
oh,
but
man.
some of it doesn't transcend generations. Like Hogan's Heroes, I watched that growing up. That's a show from the 50s. I watched that growing up, and because my dad loved it, and I recognize nobody else my age has ever heard of it or would watch it and think like, oh, that's weird. But like, I think it's great. So I think a lot of it is just what you grow up with, and sometimes it's not.
But some
fashionable
things
anymore.
are timeless. Like, say we went to an Egyptian tomb and there's like a sculpture shows one guy with his leg up, like farting on his friend's head,
Yeah.
right? Like we're all gonna laugh
Yeah.
at that. Like
Yeah.
that's
For
going to
eons
transcend. Like,
and eons.
Yeah.
Men have thought
Yeah.
drawing a penis on a wall, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
comedy
Yeah.
gold, let me tell you right now.
Like,
Let
so
me
there are
tell
timeless
you-
jokes.
Yeah.
Drawing a
timeless.
penis on the wall
Yeah.
story. Okay, so when I was in grade
Speaking of
7,
which, there's a lot of hidden penises drawn on the graffiti.
Oh,
Oh yeah, no,
Okay,
I
so
clocked a
you
couple.
found
So-
some?
Oh
Okay,
yeah, for sure.
I guess they're not.
Nothing
that hidden.
escapes
Yeah.
these
So
days.
I grew up in Saskatchewan, in northern Saskatchewan, and I moved to Saskatoon in grade 7.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, it's grade 7, you're impressionable, and I meet some new friends, and it's a small small elementary school, one class per grade, and the boys are like, hey, let's draw penises on the wall of the locker room, and it's in my head. I'm like, why wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Right. And so we each have a Sharpie, not whiteboard marker, Sharpie. We probably
Why not?
didn't know, and we just drew big penises. Right.
As one does.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so as we leave, we look all snickery, and the gym teacher's like,
How are they?
Yeah, hang
goes
on.
in,
That looks suspect.
and there's black
Hmm.
giant penises
And
everywhere.
were the helmets
right?
or two?
And so I remember being the new kid in
the
the
important
school.
Bald
question.
Eagles or hooded knights? Let's go. Come on.
This is day 3 of me being at the school. I'm the new kid, so they're like, well, the new kid must have been the instigator of this, right? But I remember being in the principal's office as the new kid and she was like, why
What do
did
you
you
say?
draw a penis on the wall? And I remember being like, I don't know. Right? You're
Classic-
right.
Okay,
This is
in
not-
fairness,
young
you were
boy
so young.
line.
Skynet
No,
was
but
still coming online.
No,
and
but
you were gaining consciousness.
this wasn't me being rebellious. This was me just thinking it was a good idea.
Yeah.
Right?
And you didn't think beyond that moment. You know what? You were living in the moment.
Yeah.
Carpe
But-
diem.
But
YOLO.
I'll say I was impressionable. I was a new kid. I wanted to fit in.
If you didn't, someone else would have.
Yeah, you're right. No,
But-
well, no,
but
it
that
was
hold up
happening
in
with or
court,
without
He's
me.
like, I had to
Yeah.
because
I had to
someone
fall-
else would have drawn it
I had
worse.
to fall
No.
on
like
phallic-shaped
Buddy
sword.
had a box of Sharpies. This was premeditated, right? Here's your Sharpie.
took them out of the
here's
cabinet.
yours.
Yeah, but
Here's yours.
you gotta
Yeah.
admit though, there's something about the penis that's just funny in general. I remember one of my earliest memories was just looking at my own penis and
Yeah.
started laughing. Not
I know
what
what
you're
you
thinking,
mean.
It's just
Like,
such a weird anatomy.
I
I
had
have
a-
arms and legs. All of a sudden, I got this fucking thing here.
Yeah,
That,
I had a roommate in
just
college
the way it's
who
shaped and looked. I'm just like, what the fuck
genuinely,
is this?
seriously believed the most inherently funny thing possible was nudity of whatever kind.
Yeah.
But nudity, in his mind, was the funniest thing that could possibly be dreamt up in any situation. Nudity is funny. I disagree with that. I think there's lots of situations where
Like Jim
that's-
Carrey.
Yeah. I think there's lots of situations where it's like, no, we ain't doing that. But it's like, okay, that's got to be something primordial in us that's just part of the human condition. It's like, haha, my friend showed me his butt from the other car on a road trip. Oh, that was kind of funny. But it's like, why? Why is that funny? But there's just something in me that's like, clicks, and that is funny.
yeah, like it's pre-programming. Like it's definitely it's definitely there. Like there is universal fucking funny, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
But, yeah. But anyway, I don't know, Johann. I'm just trying to get to know you. But I'm not gonna lie. You're probably the first guy I met in a long time that doesn't basically appreciate imagination. It seems.
Yeah, that hates.
That's kind of what I'm hearing. That's kind of what I'm hearing.
No imagination. He doesn't appreciate. That's the clip.
Title.
That's
Here's the
Jamie-
first guy
Jamie
that doesn't
clip that.
appreciate imagination.
Yeah.
Wait. I love Jurassic Park. Is that not?
No, but again, to you, in a far-fetched way, that could be
my
real.
image of dinosaurs
This
is
is gonna keep
wrong
him up at
because of
night.
my imagination. I know we
Okay,
established
but you use
that
it differently.
already.
We're talking about total imagination, like like
Good
Star Wars
imagination.
can't even begin to make any sense. The physics
Space
or whatever,
event.
like
Well,
you know, it's like
so-
I don't know, man. Like I
That's
just
funny.
I don't know, but
As soon as we leave the Earth, it's
Yeah,
so what?
yeah.
as soon as we leave the Earth, it's just gone.
There's it.
Oh,
yeah.
is it-
That's funny.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
I think I don't know if I so okay. Let me reflect on that for a bit, and next month when we do this again, we'll talk about whether or not I appreciate
Yeah.
imagination or not.
He's gonna come back and he's gonna be like, "This is like a month of sleepless nights. Do I have no imagination?"
Yeah,
He's gonna come back and be like, "I wrote a novel just to prove to you that I can." It's like this is plagiarism. Like,
ChatGPT, did you write this? Write me a novel for the podcast host to
Yeah.
prove I have imagination.
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, because I don't know. Like for me though, like my imagination has always been running wild since I was a kid. But something that kind of like really intensely sparked it was like, do you ever take like big doses of like mushrooms or like psychedelics or anything like that? No one
Johann,
has
keep in mind this is on the record.
Well, who cares if it is? Because this has nothing to do with their ability to give you
Yeah.
fast speed internet.
There you go.
But, no, man, but I just remember like the stuff I saw on the trip. I was like I couldn't even begin to piece together like the colors and shapes and what I was seeing. I was like, that's why I just know like whatever's there in the imaginative realm, like this is how it all came to be. So to like limit your mind's imagination, it's like it's quite, you're doing yourself quite the disservice, you know, because like everything comes from imagination. So even something that seems unbelievable is actually in a way believable, you know.
I see where you're going with this. I might
Maybe you can enjoy Star Wars now
Oh,
after
no. So-
crack that one piece of your psyche here.
In terms of entertainment, okay, so this is the differentiation. For me to enjoy it, I would agree that it needs to be sold as believable to a certain extent, right? But that doesn't preclude imagination from being able to imagine things, right? And so there is a different, like, from it. You can still have an imagination which is separate from entertainment, right? So how I'm going to submit my time to things is my business, and how I entertain myself, whether that's through TV or through other entertainment sources. Like to say if you don't like Lord of the Rings.
Well, one thing.
Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, knowing Johann as a customer and a friend, we would say in our business, he's one of our most imaginative customers. So we're always thinking something different, out of the box, and maybe to a certain degree, because you're always in that space yourself. You know, it's really. Okay, I don't need to watch this. You're constantly thinking about things in your own life. Well, how can I do this different? And how can I imagine this different? I think you're just busy in your own mind all the time.
Yeah,
And,
maybe. Is it because
you
is it because you think you have no time for nonsense almost? You're so busy, you
I
don't like.
think so. So there's a sense where like I do appreciate imagination and original thought, and when I look at my competitors and Bryce and Zach and wherever Cole is, he'll be here eventually, and
On the way, allegedly.
and the rest of our people, they'll know that I don't care what our competitors are doing, right? I don't, and what I want to do is I want to look at what is right for our customer, and what does that mean, right? And that actually, like, this is not sitting in a boardroom or, you know, but like this creates like, what are our customers looking for? How can we provide value? This is not about what our customers are doing in the opposite. This is not about doing what our customers are doing and doing it better. This is actually about something completely different. And that's like when Andrew says this sense of like, how we think as a business and the success we've driven, it is this, I guess, wrapping all this crazy discussion back to telecom might be like, what do consumers want out of their ISP? Right. And so, like, I kind of asked you previously,
ISP,
like,
internet service provider.
So there is a sense of like, and this is, we don't know the answer to this, so this is all rhetorical, but there is an aspect of, will we be relegated to just a utility? Right? And if that's so, then like, you don't consider your gas company as the same as your furnace company. It's two different. Even though your furnace uses gas to heat your home, they're two very different things, right? And just like your electric company, who you pay your power bill, isn't the same person you buy your toaster from.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's very different, even though it uses electricity. So there is this debate in the industry, and I'm not sure if we'll ever be able to influence this. I'm going to try, but I don't want to be relegated to just providing ones and zeros down a pipe. Right?
I think that's where that
and so that's where this
like you want to make a difference.
But like, it's just not about transmitting data, which is what telecoms are doing right now. And there is a sense of, do we provide Wi-Fi? Do we provide streaming? Do we provide TV? Do we provide security? Do we provide smart thermostats to help heat your, like, what value do we provide in this information world? And then that's kind of like a big piece, I guess, like, where different industry players are going different ways. And I'm saying, hey guys, like, we've actually done a really good job at carving out a piece of the market that really likes us. We've been fair to them, they've been fair to us, and they trust us. And that's actually in our industry very unique and rare.
Yeah.
Where
like quite rare.
Where it is fact, you could pull in this entire city of Calgary and say, and a vast majority do not like their internet service provider. Actually, right across the whole globe, not just Canada, internet service providers are some of the least liked companies in the world. Where we've carved out a market where we compete with them, have built infrastructure, provided really good services, and importantly, good customer service, and we are very well liked and we're very well trusted. So what can we do with that trust, and how much additional value can we provide? That is a rhetorical comment and question, because I don't know what that is, right? But what imagination? Circling that back to imagination, I don't know. And I ask you guys that question every day. What do we do with this trust?
Yeah, and I think some of the best conversations that we've had as a team on business development, sales, marketing side of the business, I think some of the best conversations we've had as a team have been in informal settings, in a place like this, like where we had great food and great drinks, and we're doing a podcast in a bar. Like, what a cool, unique setting, right?
Clip that.
Yeah, clip that. Jamie clip that. And I mean, around we're waiting for our food in the microwave in the office, right? And we just have like off the cuff conversations. I think that requires some imagination, right? Because so many people require systems and rigid systems in their life of, okay, like, I'm going to sit in this place and do this kind of work. And then as soon as they're out of that physical space, or that location in space and time, and then they maybe struggle with, like, how do I do this, right? How do I push to be better? How do I come up with new ideas to be better? But I think imagination factors in huge in that sense, and being able to put yourself in your customer's shoes, and maybe call it empathy and sympathy and all these other things. But I think that's a form of imagination. I live in Calgary. I don't live in Beaver Lodge, Alberta. I don't live in the Peace region. That's where our customers are, right? And I think it takes some imagination to be, okay, like, how am I going to better serve them and not sell them a thing, but sell them the right thing? And that requires some imagination. And developing these systems at our director level, I think Johann has to have a healthy helping of imagination to achieve that.
So here's, I actually let me say his name out loud, because I think it's important. Rick Mercer. He's actually my grade 12 history teacher, and he told me this story about why ideas don't matter. Right, and like, ideas do matter.
Why ideas don't matter?
Well, so ideas on their own don't matter. And
Right.
he gave this an analogy, and I don't know if it's true or not, but he said, and I'm going to butcher this story.
Ideas you don't act upon, in other words. Yeah.
Okay.
And then so he said Henry Ford had the first windshield wiper or something like that.
Right.
And he goes, do you actually think that Henry Ford invented the windshield wiper?
Yeah. Did you watch Seabiscuit?
No.
Because apparently the guy...
No,
right?
it's not Seabiscuit. It's
Is there a story behind this?
No, there's the story of the guy that developed the intermittent windshield wiper. So it's not Seabiscuit. Seabiscuit is with Tobey Maguire about the horse. He's a jockey. But this one, I can't remember the name, but I know what movie you're talking about. I know what movie you're talking about. Where he has this moment, this aha moment where he lost one of his eyes or sight in one of his eyes on his wedding. He literally a champagne cork clocked him, and he lost sight in I think his left eye. And he's driving in the rain, watching these windshield wipers move too fast, or he has to turn them off. And then he has to turn them back on. And then he starts blinking, and he has this epiphany moment. We only blink when we need to. Why don't our windshield wipers only move when they need to? Right?
So you set the tone, right? Is that why?
Yeah. So the whole story is the big three ended up stealing the design from him, and he spent the rest of his life fighting them in court to get credit. So there's a real story behind that.
So Rick Mercer was like, your ideas matter, but only if you act upon them, right? And then so there's this been our ideas at work only matter, our good ideas only matter if we act upon them, right? And that's been something like it's stuck with me forever, right? I'm like my wife knows this, you guys know this. I carry a notebook around with me everywhere. Right. I ask my wife for two things every day. Where's my wallet and where's my notebook? Right. This is it, and because I'm writing ideas down and because first of all, you have to acknowledge it and write it down.
Totally.
Circle it if you think it's good, circle it and start if it's really good. Fold the page over if you
and psychology tells us if you write it down, you're more likely to remember it.
So but these are things that
you don't do that off your phone. You have to write it.
I use a notebook.
There's a really cool psychological component of physically doing the thing, and that's why typing notes in class for students and whatnot. Statistically, you're less likely to remember what you type versus what you write. Even if you can type one heck of a lot faster than you can write.
So here's all the work we're doing. We're building infrastructure. And we have good motives. We want to close the digital divide, provide people safe, secure, affordable, fast connections, all this. None of all this matters unless we can sell it. And that's where creativity matters. Is if you build it, they will not come. Right? There are so many good ideas
they've already
out
got
there.
Something.
So many good ideas. And this is where sales and marketing creativity need to happen. Because it doesn't matter how good your idea is, if you can't sell it, so whoever the Seabiscuit guy is, however that's where it goes, great idea. But guess what? Someone else.
You know what? I got it mixed up because he's also he's building cars that competed with the big guys.
Okay, yeah. But this is the reality. I'm still confused. I thought it was about a horse. So
and a horse.
Okay.
What he does is he ends up getting rid of the cars and replacing the barn with a bunch of horses. And that's how that starts. And then
So but the idea, unless you take these ideas to action, right, and the ideas that we have, you still have to sell them. And all these ideas that we have is we as an organization is it doesn't matter. We've learned we can't give things away for free. Right, because that seems cheap, right? And so how do we sell it, right? If we believe in this product or service and that it's good and holy and everything else and provides value, how do you market it and sell it? Right.
Well, this is something that Arnold Schwarzenegger talks about a lot.
Everything in life, sell.
You have to be a salesman. He says he says it all the time. Right after he says, "I'm not a self-made man. Other people got me here. They believed in me. They helped me." Immediately after he says, I succeeded because I was a salesperson more than I was an actor. All the scripts that he had that became good movies, even the bad ones, they became movies because he was a good salesperson and he talked people into putting the big muscly guy on screen when the Dustin Hoffmans were the ticket, right? He became a movie star because he was a good salesperson. He sold people on something he believed in. That's why Arnold is.
But there's
Arnold.
there's so many layers to that statement too, because like even selling, it's you can be charismatic. The idea could be right in front of people's faces, like my business. But man, like so many people are just trapped in their habits. It's like, how do you get people out of their habits? You know, like and actually take a chance. Like that's the frustrating part here. I think we're all experiencing, you know, like it's like, because obviously you guys have a great product. You're literally delivering fiber optics to rural areas, faster internet than copper and everything else. Me, I literally have the first podcast bar in Canada, maybe even the world. The more I do my research, the world actually. When you start doing your research, like even in Japan, they have these like mini little radio.
Why don't you market
hubs.
it here as first?
I did. It's on our intro.
No, like first podcast bar in the world.
Yeah, I should. See, there you go. But
Yeah,
why do I do that, right?
Like, who cares if it's true or not?
Yeah,
I would
but-
still market it, you know?
Yeah, but
like if someone challenges you, then in brackets you say one of them.
But I'll give you an example. So I sound biased here, but we do have great food here, right?
Yeah.
Like that building right across the
Kansas
street.
State lunch. Yeah.
Literally, that building across the street. I went there and literally I marked in every way. I found the landlord, firebombed, email
like
bombed
I'm
them.
here. Yeah.
I physically walked in with flyers and coupons. Then I kind of waited as people were walking out and walked across the street, and again bombed them again with the more like coupons. And like after a while, I was kind of like, man, like the day crowd is not coming in the very, very beginning. I'm like, I'm not sure what we're doing wrong here. And then finally, people started coming in. But I remember asking the same guys, "Did you get the email?" They're like, "No." If it's related to my work,
Who's
it's
the marketing guy there? Because you got to have lunch hour like
that building.
like who?
No, the property manager is called Aspen Properties.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, anyway,
But there's businesses in there.
Oh, there's multiple businesses.
Like,
in there. Like there's an architecture company and like actually
So you're trying to find a way to get them on the hook, right? And be like, hey, this is a spot. It's here. They've got good food. It's close.
The thing I finally learned was they're just like, man, I'm so busy with my life. I have 1 hour for lunch. I don't want to think. Like you can literally tell me it's a free burger, and I'm just like, where's my pre-packaged food? Like, and I was sitting there like,
I'm gonna go to Tim's because inertia. It's what they know.
They don't want to think. Like that's the key. Most people are so busy they don't want to think. That's why you can literally give them the best deal, and they don't want to think. They're like, so that's the trick. How do you get these people to know about your product without them thinking? Yeah. So because they're just stressed all the time, right? Because life is stressful right now, and that's the thing I've started to notice. Because the people that finally came in here, every one of them that's come in here either naturally stumbled in, or a friend of a friend said something off a whim, or they're having some drinks. And what does all that have in common? They weren't thinking. Yep. It caused them no effort. That's what I started to learn about sales.
A coworker was like, "Hey, this is a cool spot. Come check it out."
Yeah,
and it only worked because it kind of fell in line with what you're doing that day, right? So it's like that's something I learned. Like people are stubborn and they're stressed and they don't want to think. So it's like so you have to almost like find a little meandering way in. Like I literally physically went to the Stephen Ave and like I was like I didn't bring coupons actually. I had in my pocket, but I remember I just drank with some dudes, and finally like I just forgot about business mode for a second. We're talking about UFC, MMA, like drinking, having a good time. Finally, they're like, one guy's like, I'm hungry. I'm like, well, I'm gonna go to my bar. They're like, what do you mean you have a bar? I'm like, oh, it's just up the street. We have a crispy chicken burger. It's pretty cheap, under $20. And he's just like, oh, okay, yeah. Like, I don't want to pay for this. And then that was it. And that's what got him in, and then got his friends in. But I'm also not a stunt man. I can't be drinking all night, 7 days a week, doing that same trick. But I just realized it's a lot harder than it looks.
One thing we know in our business, and Bryce is really good at this, and I learn a lot from him, is he says quite often, and most often, you just have to ask for the business. Don't give out a coupon. Don't give out a coupon. Don't give it for free. Just say, hey, I'd really appreciate it. I just open this bar here. It'd be great to have some local support from you. If you ask for business, people are that actually gets them out of that funk of being like, oh, yeah, like actually I will come. Now
there's an element of fatigue with here's another coupon, here's another promo. It's just like, hey, if you guys want some like really good vibes and you want some good food, and you just want to hang out, come on by. Yeah, right. Like that. There's that genuineness to it that draws people in.
Oh, I'm literally at that point now where it is that I have a take it or leave it attitude now.
Totally.
I literally, because sometimes I don't know what you guys' spiritual beliefs are, but I literally know I've tried everything that makes sense. So now I'm just chilled and like universe, like if this is supposed to go down, then great. If not, like what I already know, I tried, but you are right. There should be simpler, more logos,
Like
and
we've
things like that.
like in
I
our
didn't think of
business,
that.
we've I'll say the first community we invested in was Grand Cache, remote mountain community. Most people know the name but don't know where it is. It's that type of community.
Yeah.
And
you have to zoom way in on a map for the names to pop
It's called
up.
Grand Cache.
Grand Cache, yeah. So it's north of Hinton, just north of Highway 16. Sort of
Like
it's
CASH.
CACHE.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Cole's here.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go. So, but what's interesting is we made a ruckus in this community. We had a circus and parades, festivals. We had construction. We overhauled the entire broadband infrastructure. We signed up hundreds of people. But here's like the crazy thing is like sometimes it doesn't matter how hard you sell, how hard you market. We still see on social media now, three years later, being like, I'm sick of my internet service providers or anyone else in this town we can buy internet from. And I'm like, where have you been?
Yo,
like we literally ripped up your tulips.
Person in the town that like didn't hear about us.
Yeah, well, like we've had bouncy castles, carousels, we've had barbecues, we've
been in town Christmas parades for
everything.
like 2-3 years.
Okay, a lot was covered here, Johann. Here, let's chop it here and like let's go for part 3.
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
All right,
Okay, all right.
Times.